Good morning, everyone. Morning grain notes. Overnight so far is relatively calm. Corn down 1.5, beans up 1.5, wheat down 1. As we know, recent trade has been all about the day session. Fund buying that has been in this market the last 2 days it has been our main guide, and funds don't trade the overnight. They stick solely to the day session. So we'll see if we get another surge of buying. But first, let's look at exports. Last week's exports were incredible for beans. We had a bunch of 8 a.m. sales reports ahead of that, so we knew to expect them to be very strong. This week, we have one. We really only have one 8 a.m. sales to go off of, so we will still expect the bean exports to be strong. Overnight trade probably expects that as well, but maybe nowhere near last week's number of 2878. Maybe this time around expecting about 1,200 to 1,500, which again would still be considered strong. Over in corn, last week was 1,274. That is considered a moderate to strong number. We would expect a number similar to that again. Exports have been generally improving for both markets. The one market is not improving for is wheat, hanging around somewhere in the 300s when a number to be considered strong would have to be 450 or above. Uh, we keep hearing about potential large-scale overseas export news for wheat, but still nothing here on the U.S. side to get really excited about. In the morning email, I put in the updated ethanol chart showing yesterday's ethanol number at 1106, second strongest ethanol number since this report started. So obviously very strong. We would still say yesterday's day session buying early in the session had more to do with it than just ethanol. Uh, Given that the buying was sudden and spread across all three grain markets nearly equally, a little bit more aggressive in corn, but spread across all the markets, we would say that the fund buying, while we don't have a direct answer for it, the assumption is that it's something macro related, something a bit larger scale, such as a new trade deal, as has been talked about before, or maybe thoughts of inflation kicking into high gear here soon, something again that affects all the markets. Strong cash basis may be a case for one market or another, or potential slight yield losses from the rain. All right, I mean, that would again be a corn story, but the way the buying has occurred equally across all markets, we would say the explanation likely is tied to, again, something a little bit more macroeconomic and not a specific one market news story. We still haven't seen anything to completely confirm what is the reasoning behind the fund buying, but we'll keep eyes and ears peeled, and I'm sure there'll be more guesses put out there soon. Flipping over to cattle, Fed Cattle Exchange traded 125.50 and 125.75. That is right in line with what futures had pre-bought. Futures still have about a 126 cash trade pre-factored in. So we could see relatively calm futures trade today and tomorrow in the fat cattle, given that cash did come up in meat futures, and not so sure futures want to go ahead and start assuming a 127 for next week just yet. So could end up calm. We'll see if there are more cash trades. A little bit surprisingly quiet news in the cash, although it is higher. So we'll see what we get there. Obviously, feeders seeing a mixed influence between fat cattle moving higher and corn moving higher. Actually, you would think that feeders would be down worse than they are, but when you take a look at the January feeder chart, it's eased back a little bit, but recent setbacks have actually held recent lows. So not downtrending in the feeders yet, more of a sideways trend there. We'll see if we get more fun buying after the start of the day session. That's what everybody will be watching for today. And we'll just see if we get it and tackle it from there. All right, thanks everyone.